From Black really sounded like my kind of film. I was so excited for this, and it's absolutely terrible. Over the course of an hour and 40 minutes, nothing happens. Nothing at all. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Thomas Marchese or Marchese. I apologise if I've mispronounced that. And it's written by Jessub and Thomas Marchese. And it stars Anna Camp as Cora and John Ailes as Abel. And I will say the performances are really, really good. Absolutely no problems with the performances. I think they did a good job with the material that they had. However, unfortunately, the narrative is just absolutely horrendous. It's not even so much that it's slow. It is slow. But that would imply that we're actually getting somewhere. And unfortunately, we just don't. I'm not going to say how it ends, just in case you do decide to watch this. But it is very poorly executed. It starts off with a bit of a mystery, and it seemed like it was going to be really fascinating. A woman whose young son disappeared, I think they said 7 years ago, is found covered in blood. And it's not her blood. Whose blood is it? Well, I was very keen to find out. And that part of the narrative was very poorly executed. We then find out that, well, actually, we see this at the beginning of the film. We see some kind of ritual set up that she's clearly tried to use to try and find her son. And there we have this potential supernatural or demonic element, but we don't know too much about this to begin with. The clues are there, but we don't find out, well, to be honest, we don't find very much about it at all. But I don't want to give away any more than I already have in case you do decide to watch it. But basically, it's got a supernatural or demonic angle, depending on how you want to look at it. And it's very, very boring. And I don't want to say any more, partly because I don't want to give it away, but also because there really isn't anything else to say. That's basically the narrative. It is so boring. Nothing happens. There are no key plot points. We don't move forward at all. Obviously, we move forward slightly from the opening scene to then establishing the main narrative. But once we've established what it's about, that's what it's about. That's it. You know basically what's going to happen within the first few scenes because nothing progresses. And the characters are boring. I didn't necessarily dislike Cora, Anna Camp's character, but I never really cared for her either. And the same with Abel. I thought he was fine, a relatively well-written character. He was maybe slightly more interesting than Cora. And the performances, as I said, are absolutely fine. Pretty decent performances, actually. But at no point did I like the characters. So we have pretty mundane characters and a complete absence of any real narrative progression. So there's not really a lot that this film is offering. And the music is horrible. For the most part, the music is okay. But there are times when the music is so disgusting to listen to. There's one moment in particular, I can't remember. I think Cora was maybe walking towards a door. I can't remember exactly, but it's just screechy violins or strings, and it's not that it's terrifying or horrifying. It's not. It's just that it's nails on a chalkboard horrible. And I don't want to have to listen to that for however long it played for. And there are times when the music is just really loud and overbearing and it doesn't really fit the scene very well. So it's not really interesting to listen to. The characters are dull. The narrative is lacking in pretty much everything. But the performances are okay. Is it scary? I had one jump scare that genuinely made me jump out of my skin. So there was one moment that I thought was genuinely scary. I can't remember which bit it is, but it's obviously during one of the attempts to try and connect with her son during this ritual. And other than that, I don't think it's very scary at all. So do I recommend it? No, not in the slightest. From Black sounded like it could have been a really great idea. And maybe in the right hands, the narrative could have been executed more effectively. The characters could have been better written. The narrative could have existed at all, because what we have is basically the start. It seems like the bare bones of the story, and they just never really bothered to flesh it out into something that was fascinating with a good payoff. Absolutely none of that is present. So unfortunately, while I had quite high hopes, it sounded like my kind of film, From Black did not meet any expectations. It didn't even come close to it. It is unfortunately not a good story, and the rest of the aspects of the film are mundane at best. It's not one that I enjoyed, and I don't think it's worth watching.